Good afternoon. Welcome to this screening of Unsung Hero, the Jack Jones story. Many of you will know who Jack Jones is, the former General Secretary of Transport and General Workers Union, who fought in the Spanish Civil War, amongst other things. This film is by Hurricane Films Liverpool-based production house. At the end of it, we're going to have a Q&A with Patrick here, who was the archival editor on the film, and if you watch the film, you'll see how important archive is to this, and we'll talk about the nature of making archive film and some of the challenges around what's involved in doing that. So we'll watch the film, and then we'll have a chat and get a chance to ask Patrick some questions. Thanks. I have to thank Patrick for that. Patrick was the archivist on that film, and as you can see the importance of archive to that film, the way in which so much of it is based upon archive footage mixed with the talking head interviews and the voiceover, and also the archive music. And it's part of the kind of work, I guess, that Hurricane do. They make documentaries as well as drama features. I think we describe. Are we rolling? Are we okay? All right, fine. So I'll ask Patrick a few questions and maybe open it out and talk a little bit about Jack Jones and about the film. But Patrick, I wonder if you can tell us how that film came about. What's the origins of it?
Well, Roy is a member of the Jack Jones Trust.
So Roy's the producer. Roy's
yeah,
the producer.
Roy Bolter, who is one of the producers and co-founders of Hurricane Films. He is one of the members of the Jack Jones Trust, who look after all of Jack's affairs and whatnot. And so long before I came onto the project, so 5-6 years ago, he wanted to make a documentary to basically honour Jack's life. So they had an idea of making one, and it was basically a case of just getting it made, really. So they started with the initial premise of just making it about Jack, and then it's basically a case of they needed material, and originally they didn't really find much material of Jack, but after extra research, as you can see from the documentary, there is actually quite a fair bit about the man. So yeah, but I would start basically all stems back from the Jack Jones Trust and wanted to make a film about a man who, I mean, as the title suggests, is like he's an unsung hero, really. So it's trying to get him out.
So it took a long time to make
really.
that. As film, it takes a long time to get a film in development and then in production and through post-production, raising the money for film for the man. Takes a long time. So you as the archive came on to the project slightly way through it, and you were told, nah, there's not much footage out there. So what did you do to go about finding that material?
Yeah, so as a researcher, it is a case of you go digging, you go asking people for material, you go asking places. I mean, most of this material is from BBC programmes, BBC documentaries, ITV. It's quite a lot of Spanish Civil War stuff. So a lot of that is from Spanish archives. You literally go digging through where you think people won't look. So specifically all the stuff to do with Liverpool. People of Liverpool are very generous. There's a lot of home footage in there as well, and photographs that people donated. Originally, before I came onto the project, there was some stock photos of Jack, some old footage, nothing really that you could build feature around. But as soon as you go knocking on the doors of these archive houses, you
went to BBC?
Yeah, so BBC had a lot of the actual talking head interviews of Jack Jones. They're from a documentary called, well, it was part of a series called 20th Century Remembers, and he was one of the people who did an episode on, and that was a really useful find actually, because that had loads of other documentaries about Jack embedded in that one, and then it's a case of finding those documentaries. But it's spread across quite a few sources, so there was BBC, ITV, Thames TV has quite a lot of stuff as well, and British Pathé as well. They've actually made their collection available online now, so that was a bit easier to find some stuff. But there was a fair few sources in the credits if you take a look.
So how does that relationship then between the director, the editor and the archivist work? Would it be the case that Saul as director would say, I really need this shot of a rally in Trafalgar Square to represent the general strike? Would the editor say, I can't do anything with that, say, you go and find me something else? How does it work?
Yeah, it really is a collaborative thing, documentary making. So basically it all stems down from Saul. And so we listen to the interviews and pick up on the things they'd say, and then Graham edits it down, figure out who said the nicest things about a situation or an anecdote or whatever. So they mentioned, so let's take the Civil War, or Spanish Civil War for example. That was heavily debated between me, Saul and Graham, because there was a lot of battles or specific cuts that we couldn't find. So it was a case of Graham would say, oh, we need to cover this part of the battle. We don't have any footage of the battle, so we need battles that would sound relevant to what was being said, and then someone would take a look at the shots and then just prove the shots basically. That's how it works. It was a case of Saul would say, oh, the archive looks good, and then Graham would see it would fit the flow of the film, and then I'll go and find what you were asking for.
I was interested in that footage of the Trade Union Congress in the Isle of Man,
Oh yeah.
which that's not from the that can't be from the where's that from?
That's from ITV. I think it's from World in Action. It's actually across two things, but World in Action is one of the best series ever made, and they don't make it no more. That episode was specifically based on his social contract. And that episode has got some brilliant archiving. We had trouble with that one because there was actually quite a lot of we wanted to use more material from that episode, but it was just trimming as you trim the doc down, you naturally either don't need it, but there was actually quite a lot of material from that was excellent that I've seen myself that I wish was maybe put in again later, but it was excellent.
Might see a longer version of the archive.
Yeah, some extra.
Does anybody have let's listen now, does anybody have any questions for Patrick or thoughts about the film?
It was a wonderful film, by the way. I really enjoyed it. Well done. Jack was an internationalist, and I wonder, would he have taken a very different view from his successor, Len McCluskey, on something like Brexit today? It's a hard one, I know, but
On Brexit.
yeah, on Brexit, you know, I mean, Len's for Brexit. I've got a feeling maybe Jack would have taken a different view. I mean, it's something nobody can answer, obviously, but what's your feeling?
Well, we found footage of the original European referendum, and it was of Jack's opinions on the original, and he believed that we shouldn't be part of Europe. So I don't really know, to be honest. I don't know. He may have fell in line with Len's views. I can't really say myself, but it's a difficult one, as you say, being an internationalist. Who knows? But his original views was that we shouldn't be part of it. But time changes a man, so you know.
Owen Jones says that, doesn't he? The world has changed.
Yeah.
And a lot of people on the left at that time, you know, did take that view of Jack, but now I'm not so sure.
Yeah, and it's really hard to speak about someone's views, but I'd say that if I was just going to go based off his original views, that maybe he'd be in support of it. But
What was his original justification for his position?
In 73 he was part of the panel of so when the vote was going live, he's on the panel, and he just believes it didn't strengthen the trade unions' position in the country, especially work at the time. I think he believed that it didn't strengthen their position of joining the common market. But it's a difficult one though, because as you say, time changes a person, and Jack on Brexit, that's a really good question. Like, would he support it or not? I mean, in my head, he'd totally have said no. Like, we don't need to.
Well, most of the trade union movement was quite Eurosceptic up until late Thatcherism, when Jacques Delors came and made the speech at the Trade Union Congress, and Britain later, under the Labour government, adopted the social chapter. That's when trade unions really became much more European focused than they certainly were earlier on in the 70s and 80s. Any other thoughts? Yeah.
Thanks for a really evocative film that I think really captures the kind of human warmth of the man. My question actually is about Evelyn Jones. So it's great that her role is highlighted there, and in particular about the relationship between the two of them and the Communist Party, because you know, some of the literature on the Communist Party of Great Britain says that, you know, part of their kind of strength in the 60s and 70s is because they can kind of count on alliances with union leaders whose politics was not far from them, and so we saw in the film that Evelyn's a communist in the 30s and was described as being, you know, more left wing in fact than him. So does she carry on being a communist, and is she the kind of link then between Jack Jones and the CP, or, you know, what is the how does that relationship work?
Sorry, so what? So was she
Yeah.
an outright communist? Yeah. She. What we found, it's funny. It's only shown briefly in the documentary, but there's some documents in this documentary from the Russian state archives. I'm probably on some sort of list for finding these, but it's basically, these were documents that basically, when Jack joined the international brigades, to join them, he had to prove that he was a communist, or they wouldn't let him go. So he had to fill out that his future wife was a communist, and he aligned himself with the Communist Party. And we had much debate with this as well, because it was written in Spanish. One of our colleagues, Ali at Hurricane, speaks Spanish, so she helped us translate it. And he says that he's a communist in these, but I think that's more of a case to get into being.
See, I think the thing about that was that the way that the Republican forces were structured is they were structured in a couple of ways. One, when you could join the National Army, or you could join the militias, and the militias were attached to trade unions. And some of those trade unions were variously communist, some of them were Trotskyist, and so on. So if you wanted to join if you wanted to join a particular militia, you had to have your card saying, say I'm a communist. The thing I was trying to remember, but I don't know if you know about George Booth. and what George Booth's role is in the Spanish Civil War, because he was quite a significant figure who'd been sent over as a kind of poster boy of the International Brigade, and then he gets captured and he disappears into prisons and so on. But that's her first husband.
Yeah, George Brown.
George Brown. Sorry, yes,
George Brown. Yeah, George Brown. Well, anyway, I'll answer that one.
Right.
But back to the question of the communism. So in the documents, it does say that they're both openly communist, and that he attended communist rallies over here. But yeah, I feel that he kept it separate. She was open with it right up until the end, but he, like, as soon as he becomes more associated with the Labour Party, I feel that maybe no, he wasn't communist. And even the allegations later on from Oleg Gordievsky, they're just, I mean, you can see yourself, can't you? Like that he brings into doubt a lot of things. Like when he basically brings up anything to do with the Communist Party, it's always difficult, especially when your wife openly says that she is a member of the Communist Party. But yeah, your question of like, does it influence Jack and is he a member? I feel he's only ever said that to get into the International Brigade, but other than that, I don't feel like he aligns himself with it really. Not really, not particularly. Not like Evan. She would come out and just say, yeah, I'm a member of the Communist Party, so yeah.
Do you know who the editor of the Sunday Times was when that story came out?
No, but
Andrew Neil.
Andrew Neil, yeah. It's a weird one because it came up again recently, but about Michael Foot. Yeah, it came back round again from the same source, and it's like just won't let it go. It's just an odd thing because when we were trying to show that in the documentary, there was already like an MI5 documentary that explored it a tiny bit, and then we got some newspaper archive footage of like about Michael Foot. But that was a situation that we wanted to show because we didn't have to show any of them accusations in the documentary, and we could have just like just glossed over it and made them seem perfect. But it's a thing that we like to leave it ambiguous, like you can make your own mind up if you.
I want to ask about that.
Go on.
Editorial decisions on the clips. The editorial decisions on the clips that you showed about the Gordievsky allegations. I mean, it's just intriguing how you put that together. Sunday Times, Michael Foot, and then his son saying essentially, yeah, he wouldn't have been bribed by two. How did you reach that decision to show those clips?
Yeah, I felt that if we show, I remember when me and Graham discussed, the editors discussed, we felt that we have to let Oleg Gordievsky say his piece and say it unedited and say it say his accusation and say it how it is, and then obviously let Mick have his word, and then let the audience decide what they feel is the situation. And we showed Michael Foot because that's kind of it's linked in, and it's also some of the his footage was more prevalent. Like when we found it was more advertised more than Jack's accusation. But we felt if we showed both sides to it, that we just leave it to the audience to decide if they felt he had or hadn't. But I mean, that's the angle of a documentary, really, isn't it? You show it to people, and then you can form your own opinion, really, just based on that. Because we didn't have to. I remember it got to the point where we were forming it, and it was always best left unedited, especially with Oleg Gordievsky. If he just says his piece and then Mick says his, you can form your own opinion based on that, really. It's interesting, definitely.
Any others? want to tell me about George Brown?
Oh yeah, George Brown. He's a really interesting chap because there's a lot of photos of Evelyn in this, but not as many as we'd hoped to have got. Because obviously, as you saw in the documentary, there was a fire in Coventry in his new home down there, and he lost all the photos and memorabilia and stuff like that. The photos we did get of Evelyn, they were from the George Brown Society, who are very, very nice people in Ireland. So basically, George Brown, he was killed in the Spanish Civil War, and he was best friends with Jack, and they had a lot of good archive material, really, mainly of George and Evelyn, and it's kind of a bittersweet one, really, because naturally when it's like your best friend's lover and all this, but I feel George Brown and Jack, like, they're quite similar people, like, especially when we researched, like, they all wanted to go over together, and they all hung out together as well before going, and yeah, he's a man that you could make a documentary about as well, you know what I mean? I mean, this society, they have already made something about them, but they were very, very nice people, giving us photos of Evelyn as well. But yeah.
She'd be an extra in the DVD.
Yeah. Evelyn's an interesting character. Like, she's one who, like, she's another person who you could definitely make a documentary about. She is a fierce person. Like, we actually tried finding a few more bits about Evelyn. She, Oswald Mosley, she stormed one of his rallies herself and got arrested for it, and she just, like, had no fear whatsoever, and she went with Jack everywhere, and she kept them level a lot of times. She was definitely a really important person behind Jack. I feel like we tried to capture that in the documentary by showing her. I mean, you can just see yourself going, and she's just, like, so strong-willed that, like, I think he feeds off that a lot of the times, especially when he's dealing with a lot of people and high-powered people. She brings him back down to earth as well, especially when he's dealing with, you know, powerful figures and being, you know, voted the most powerful man in Britain. Like, I feel she just brings him back down to earth a lot of the times, and says, you know, what's really important is family and what's at home sort of thing. But yeah, she is an interesting character herself.
I like the trouser suits, but they were great.
Yeah. She's brilliant. We wanted more of her, but it's one of them ones. It's only so much you can fit in a documentary.
Very good. Thank you very much, Patrick.
Oh yeah.
Thank you.
Glad you enjoyed it.
Thank you.